like my new intro video? Yeah, I know. It's silly. I've been wanting to create an intro video for a long time, but I've been so busy that I just haven't felt like, it was enough of a priority to carve out the extra minutes or hours, as the case may be, to try to come up with something fun and playful and creative. And I've had a friend working for me just recently has started helping me fill orders and that sort of thing, and it's freeing up some of my time to be a little bit more creative again. So one of the first things I tackled was an intro video. So we'll see how many times I use it before I get tired of it and want to do something new. But for now, you get to see Bobblehead Beth at the beginning of my videos. My kids thought I was crazy. My son thought that I should have made my little silhouette logo lady, should have made her be like flossing because it's Flosstube. And he said, I know how to do animation. So we'll see. I might give him just the logo and see what he comes up with. I'll make sure I draw attention to it in the future if that's what happens. But anyway, this is going to be a quick one today because I'm on a limited time before I need to head out and take the kids to their piano lessons. I'm sitting outside even though it's chilly because it's a beautiful day, and the farm boy is working from home today because his steering went out in his Jeep, and so it's in the shop. So he's been working from home for the last 2 days. So he's upstairs in the bedroom conference calling. And then Fridays once a month, my mom comes out. She lives about an hour's drive away. She comes out and is teaching my kids to sew. So she's working with my daughter right now because my son is approaching the end of his first trimester. He's in 7th grade this year, and his school workload has been a little difficult for him to stay on top of. So he's in the dining room studying, and so there really wasn't a good place for me other than outside. So I'm thankful that it's at least not bitterly cold. It's chilly, but I can handle it for 30 minutes or however long this takes. So the main reason, turkey mug. I'm actually drinking water out of my mug, which is really sad because it's so much better to drink coffee out of a mug, but it's late enough in the day that I need to hydrate and not have more caffeine. So I'm hydrating out of my turkey mug. I saved this mug in an upper cupboard all year long, and I only drink out of it during the months of September, October, and November, sometimes into December, but when I get the Christmas mugs out, it usually gets put away. So it's my special Thanksgiving coffee mug. So I just have a few things for you today, and I'm probably just going to jump around. The first is, I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I put out my first free chart in an embarrassing amount of time. I used to put them out regularly, like 3 to 5 times a year, and I've been so busy I haven't thought about it. It's something I like to do because I know that there are hundreds and thousands of amazing charts available for purchase, but sometimes you just want a small project. Sometimes your budget is limited, and it's also just a nice thing for me to do. It's easy for me to chart something up quickly and put it out there for free. And so if you haven't seen it yet in social media, I do have a free chart that I just released, and it's in honor of Thanksgiving, which is my favorite holiday. I love Thanksgiving because has very little commercialism attached to it. For whatever reason, Maybe because it's the nature, it's gratitude, it's thankfulness, it's being content with what we have. And that's something that's a little bit difficult for a capitalist society to turn into a big moneymaker. Am I right? So we typically see in the stores, Halloween! You know, as soon as back to school is gone, Halloween is in the stores, and it just takes over orange and black and purple and all of those colors. And then they sweep the Halloween away and start putting Christmas out. And there's just usually a tiny little section of Thanksgiving. But I just love the idea behind Thanksgiving. You know, historically speaking, there are a little bit of sad nuances to the Thanksgiving holiday, because when white people came into our country, you know, there was this connection with the native population, from what I understand. And I don't think that lasted for very long. I know it didn't last for very long. And then we were horrible, and still are, in my opinion, to the people that call this country their native home. But putting all of that aside, a holiday that's strictly focused around family togetherness, expressing gratitude and thankfulness for what we've been given. Sorry about the airplanes. The sun comes out and the people with the small hobby aircrafts just fly over. And I know it probably is really loud in your earphones. So there's really nothing I can do about it. I have a feeling from now, starting next month, there's no way I'm going to be shooting my videos outside. And like I explained, today was special circumstances. So anyway, here it is. It's called Grateful, Thankful, Blessed. And I charted it specifically to fit this Hobby Lobby candle holder? Candlestick. It's just tin on the top and wood on the bottom. And they come in, there were a couple different colors. I chose the wood tone bottom. It retails for $6.99, but I happen to know that right now, I don't know if they're on sale in store, but on the Hobby Lobby website, they're like $2.99 a piece or something like that. So you could easily order a couple of these. I think you end up paying for shipping, but make one for yourself, for a friend. I stuffed it with sheep's wool. It's got this nice, tight, firm, you know. So I'm actually going to stick pins in it. I just, for right now, for the purposes of showing you, I didn't. I put some Lady Dot Creates rickrack around the outside just to kind of fill in the little gap, but otherwise it's just like popped in there. I cut a circle of foam core that fit the inside of the metal part, and then put in a big ball of sheep's wool and just tightened the whole thing around the base. And it took a little bit of convincing to be smooth on the outside. I had to keep adding sheep's wool. That's why it's so firm and tight. Anyway, Grateful, Thankful, Blessed. If you go to my blog, which is thetwistfamily.blogspot.com, I'll put a link, not an actual live link, but I'll put the web address down in the description below this video. If you go there, there's a clickable link that takes you to a PDF that you can download, and it's free. It's for you to use in whatever way you want. Print multiple copies, share it, gift it, do whatever you want with it. It's just me celebrating my favorite holiday and sharing it with you. So that's that. Talked about that longer than I had planned to. Something that you may not know about me is that I love antique photographs. I love the ones that aren't necessarily formal, the ones that, but black and white, you know, old photography that captures what life looked like in past generations. And I used to just look at them and I didn't collect them, and then I realized that they would be a nice asset for me to use in my chart covers as in the place of clip art. So when you purchase a pattern from me, if there's a photograph in it, it's actually a photograph from my collection. I don't know if you knew that. Because there are a lot of antique photos that you can get online that are just free, that people put out there, and you can use them as much as you want. But I actually find these, a lot of them are purchased through Etsy. Sometimes I find them at local antique shows where somebody will have a big bin and I'll just rifle through and I'll buy a handful of them. But I do have one envelope that's got pictures that are from my family. Most of them we don't know who they are, but they were in family photo albums. And I don't have a large collection. That's how many I have. But there are some just fantastic photos in here. I love this. It's from 1922, it says. January 19, 1922. I've got couples. I've got this fantastic bearded gentleman. This is May's father. This is from 1890. And a lot of times people will have notes on the back. These are people's discarded and forgotten family members. Here's a lovely couple where the bride is taller than the groom. They just look so serious. Anyway, that's just a little tidbit about me. I love old photographs. I do have plans at some point to kind of sort these into categories and put them in an album. But that's probably going to be a retirement project because I just, right now, that's not going to happen. Adoptions. So in the last video, I said that the people who had the right to adopt the chart from the video before that, I had forgotten to do the random drawing and a random generator. And so I did after I had filmed the video, and then I sent notes to all those people and not one of you got back to me. So obviously you don't read your comments and your notes. So I'm going to extend that one. So Anna's Prayer, this is from a couple videos ago. I randomly drew 4 names, and they are Joan Clark, Clark with an E on the end, Susan Smith, Rhonda Smith, and Diary of a Stitcher. I've already sent you notes, so go look in you're gonna have to scroll down because it was like a month ago that I sent you a note. And find my comment back to you, and then send me your address and I'll get a copy of that pattern in the mail to you because you said you wanted it. If I don't hear from you by the next video, it's over. It's over and done with. In the last video, I showed you my Christmas band sampler. A lot of you really liked it. I think it was fun for you to see it side by side with the antique sampler that inspired it. And I randomly generated 3 names for this one. And I've already also randomly generated 3 alternates. So what I'm going to do is I'll say your names in this video. I'll send you a note through YouTube. And if by the next video I haven't heard from you, then I'm going to reach out to your alternate. You each have an alternate. So in no particular order, Christy Smolkovic or Smolkovich, I don't know if it's itch or ick, Trisha K, and Robin Bradley. If the 3 of you would reach out to me through email or through YouTube comments with your address, I will get a copy of my Christmas band sampler in the mail to you. And who knows, if you're fast, you might get it finished by Christmas. I don't know. I think you'd have to be pretty fast and pretty dedicated, but it is possible. What's next? So I mentioned a little while ago my friend that's been working for me. She's helping me with orders, and she comes over to my house once a week and will work for me for 2 to 3 hours and just help me do the boring stuff. She is also in my band. Her name is Brandy Gable. Gable is spelled Goebel. And Brandy and I have known each other for, I think, 8 years or so. And I knew from the beginning that she had a history of cross-stitching. But I just recently got her hooked on Flosstube, even to the point that she has started her own Flosstube channel. So I encourage you to go look her up, my friend Brandy Gable. And she has an Etsy shop called Every Home Needs a Gnome, and she makes these cute little gnomes. So you may also find her by searching Every Home Needs a Gnome, but I'll put her info down below in the description box to help you find her. Anyway, I mention her because she helped me film a tutorial for making covered boxes, fabric covered boxes using needlework on the top. And that tutorial has also just been uploaded along with this video. One of them is going to go up before the other because that's just the nature of uploads. But I encourage you to watch it if you have any interest in covering paper mache boxes with fabric. I opened it and I could immediately smell the glue. We use Mod Podge. And then it tells you how to put needlework on the top. For the tutorial, I just used some abandoned pieces of needlework that I had before I started the tutorial. I just patchworked them together. I did it by hand. You could, if you have little bits and pieces, you could patch them together by hand or by machine or whatever. Or you could use an entire piece that you've stitched on and you just, for whatever reason, don't want to do anything else with it. I just got buzzed by a hummingbird. Here's a couple of them. Now they're going to start chirping at each other. Anyway, that tutorial is up, and you can use that tutorial to help you finish your mistletoe, tinsel, and jingles boxes. It's also a good tutorial for those of you who were at the Tomorrow's Heirlooms retreat in July, to help you finish covering your projects from the retreat, your Need More Floss boxes. So there's a lot of applications. You don't have to put needlework on the top. It could be just fabric. And I talk about that in the tutorial. It's about an hour and 22 minutes long. What else? Oh, so I also mentioned my mom earlier in the video. Last video, I showed you a pattern that I bought for making project bags because I had every intention of doing it, but I also know that it takes a lot of convincing to get me to sit at a sewing machine. I have a hard time. Not that I can't or that I'm not decent at it. I'm actually not a bad seamstress with a sewing machine. I just don't enjoy it as much as I enjoy working with my hands. So my mom was over last month, the first of our sewing sessions for this year with the kids. And we were chatting, and she was talking about, you know, Christmas coming up and the 13 grandkids and then her 5 kids plus their spouses that she's shopping for. And she doesn't work. And she does a really good job of saving up and being frugal and having money to buy us all gifts. But I think she was wishing that she could do more. And I had the idea pop in my head. I had a stack, like seriously, like this, of fabrics that I've acquired over the years with the intention of making market bags, like shopping bags for myself out of. And I've given up on that whole idea. idealistic person, and I like to think that I'm going to sit at the machine and sew, but reality says that I'm not going to do it. And I said, you know, I have all these fabrics. I feel guilty because they're just sitting there and I'm not using them. What if I matched up fabrics and gave you a big stack and you could make me some project bags? And then if you like it, you could use as much of the fabric as you want and maybe make a few project bags, and I'll throw them up in my Etsy shop for you. And she was like, okay, well, why don't you send me home with enough to make one bag and we'll see how it goes. So I did. I sent her home with this fun Viking fabric and some blue stripe for the alternate. I sent her with the vinyl. It's kind of a thinner, more crinkly vinyl. It's not my favorite, but it does the job. I had bought some zippers. I had everything. So I sent her home, and in like just a couple days, she had made this project bag for me. Has a handle. It's quilted. See that? The lining on the inside between the layers of fabric is like an eco fill of some kind that is made from plastic water bottles, which I thought was cool. Anyway, she enjoyed it. She's like, well, you know, why don't you give me some more and we'll see how it goes. So she made 12, and she's here now today. She just brought them to me. And what I'm gonna do is, I told her I would just put a little pop-up shop in my Etsy, and it'll be Marie's project bags. And there's only 12 of them. A little background on my mom. She's always been a sewer as far as using machines. She taught me to sew my own clothes when I was young. We had a dress code at my school, and I had to have below the knee skirts. Sorry, I need to check the times. I don't want to be late for piano lessons. I'm gonna have to wrap this up. Anyway, she has a lot of background in sewing. She's primarily a quilter. She does a lot of fussy cutting. She's made quilts for all of her grandkids with really fun applique. Anyway, I have a stack of bags. These are all mostly seasonal. There's a couple of autumn. Can you hear the crinkly? I think it's because it's a thinner vinyl than what I'm used to. I have several made by Mama Joan bags, and she uses a thicker vinyl, and so I think that's the difference. It's still sturdy. It's just a different quality. So these are quilted. They all have handles, which I really like. She added on these, she added a little applique of a pumpkin, which I thought was cute. So there's 2 pumpkin ones. There's 2 that are sort of a fall, autumn kind of browns. And then we've got some wintry ones. We've got trees and snowflakes, and these 2 are the opposites of each other. We've got some kind of charcoal and apple green, and again, opposite of each other. We've got some cardinals with a green on the inside. And we've got holly, like a red holly and a kind of a cream holly, just one of those, and then one that's nice and bright green and red. That's it. She made 12. She said she's done. No more until after Christmas. And I told her, you know, whenever she wants a little bit of spending money, just make up a stack of bags and bring them to me and I'll list them for her. So these will be listed in my Etsy shop. My goal is to list them in conjunction with releasing this video, so they're actually there. And it's one of those things, when they're gone, they're gone. I don't think she's opposed to doing some custom bags if you like the idea of helping my mom shop for her grandkids. And you like the idea of, you know, these bags. It's not like, you know, she's not going to be doing a ton of this. I'm thinking, knowing my mom, I don't know, 4 to 6 times a year she might come to me with a stack of bags. It might be less. She might decide to never do it again. I don't know. But for the time being, we've got some project bags that I'm going to put in my shop, and just leave it up to you to decide whether you want to buy them or not. Finally, I am going, actually, you know what? I'm going to cut this off, go take my kids to piano lessons, and then I'll add on another segment at the end showing you my new fob release for the month. So instead of waiting until it's dark outside, because it's getting dark outside so early, I thought that I would just continue my recording down at the home of the kids' piano teacher. So, and this time instead of filming by the river, where it's a little bit breezy and quite honestly pretty loud, because we've had enough rainfall this fall that the river's a lot higher. And I know that's distracting for some of you. So you might still be able to hear the river. Can you hear it? Anyway, I'm just in front of their home. They've got this cool old wagon. I don't know how old, but I thought it was a fun little backdrop. And my collar's all messed up. Anyway, all I really had left to show you was my latest Festive Little Fobs release. You may have already seen it because I released it on Friday. But I want to show them one at a time anyway. So this is my 11th in my Festive Little Fob series, and I only have one more. It's hard for me to believe. It seems like it's taken forever, but gone by really quickly. You know how time is funny. Anyway, this newest one is the winter edition of my Festive Little Fobs. And we have a little wreath garland of stocking hats and their matching mittens. It's a cute little set. They're slightly different in size, so you could put them back to back on one fob if you wanted. But one side of your fob would have more reveal of the linen around it. I don't know why I did it that way. It's hard to understand inspiration. We have a row of penguin parents with their little fluffy babies, and I had thought of making a mini drum out of this one. I've done that in a few of my other sets, and I even have a little tutorial out for making the mini pin drum. But I ran out of time. I was cutting it close with this one, so I just made a little pillow. It's full of wool roving. If you wanted to make a mini drum out of it, you might want to add another pair of, parent and baby penguin. It's a repeating pattern, so it'd be really easy to add another 2 penguins, and it would be a little easier to make the drum because it would be not quite as skinny. We have a little ice skate with a snowflake. I know that's a big thing in parts of the country where lakes and ponds freeze over and there's ice skating. We don't get to do that around here, but I still think of ice skates when it's winter time. A little snow globe with a red house and a little tree inside. And there's little, you might not be able to see them, but there are little snowflakes in there too. If you were to stitch this on a darker linen, it would show more. And then look at the fabric I put on the back. It's a little snow globe, of course. We have hot cocoa. Need I say any more? A snowflake with a blue background and a little friendly little snowman with twig arms and a red scarf and a little carrot nose. And finally we have a polar bear head growing out of a pot because for whatever reason I decided that the series everyone needed to have a random object growing out of a pot. And that's it. Those are my fobs, my winter edition Festive Little Fobs there's one more set left, and my 12 sets of fobs will be over and done with. And it's a little bit sad. So maybe I'll have to come up with some more to release at some point in the future, but for now, excuse me while I stretch my legs. I'm squatting down and I am not in good enough shape to stay in that position for that long. My old legs. Anyway, I don't know what else I have to say. Oh, I know. I am going to wrap up my me talking to you part of the video now. But following, if you want to stick around, if you're interested, I have a little collage of some different videos that I've taken in the last month or so. There's my husband's interaction with an owl down in the woods while he's on his tractor. Sorry, that section's a little bit noisy because the tractor is running. There's leaves and Halloween costumes and a little drive down the road. I stuck my phone on my magnetic, sorry, my legs are killing me, on my magnetic little holder on my dash in my car, and I just recorded as I was driving on the back roads home from school one day, and I kind of put that together. But it's like 7 minutes long though, so if you don't want to go for a drive with me for 7 minutes, then just turn the video off when you get to that point. But you might find it relaxing. I don't know, it's up to you. Let me know what you think about my random added on videos at the end. In the past I've added some on and you seem to like it, so I thought I would do it again this time. So I think that's all. If I think of something else, I can always record it and add it on. So check out my web addresses I've put below, and until next time, I hope you're well and enjoying this beautiful fall. Bye-bye. Okay, you're ready.